Hello my dear friends, this is a PaintyKat. My name is Catherine. Welcome on my channel. Today we're gonna continue paint with watercolor. I really like to paint sunset paintings with orange and violet, and I'd say it's a most popular color combination, so let's see how it's going. This is a demonstration version of tutorial, real-time one going for 1 hour and 11 minutes, and you can find it on a link down below in a description. First, this is a paper, really thick one, watercolor paper, and it's fixed with all 4 sides with a tape. And I'm starting with acrylic color. This color kinda close to cadmium lemon, but this one more transparent, and I really like it more. And if you don't have this color, you can use cadmium lemon, of course, but be sure you are mixing it with nice amount of water, because when cadmium lemon too thick on a paper, it's not looking shiny, because thick layer, it's not giving a light ability go through it and reflect from the white paper. So you need translucent layers. And this is a wet technique, means you need to be patient enough, because colors mixing by itself on a wet paper, but paper need to be not over wet, and you can control amount of water on a surface with a big flat brush and a towel or paper napkin. Really handy. If you feel like you put too much of water on top, just remove extra, spread it well. Wait a little bit, and after you will put colors, they will mix beautifully. Order of the colors here are really first. Next it's going to orange. I really like this combination. Next it's a carmine color. Carmine mixing beautiful with orange. That's why I like it first before violet, because violet, when it's touch orange or yellow, it's giving matte combination. So be sure if you're using violet, it's never going too close to the orange or yellow there. Only through carmine. Next, it's a napkin. This way you can lift a little bit of color from the paper, because all colors still wet. So be sure you lift up a little bit of colors from the center of your composition. This center, it's a sun shining spot. Honestly, I don't wanna create rays of lights again, because on a previous tutorial I already demonstrate couple of techniques how possible to create it. So if you like this idea, you can take a look on a previous one and add rays of light if you like to here as well. Next one, it's a reflection. Of course, paper here was a little bit dried already, because I spent maybe like 20 minutes to create a sky. So I added extra water. Here, order of the colors the same. It's a yellow, then orange. Orange goes to the carmine, and carmine to the violet, and napkin again. Here in the center, it's the lightest part. I'm not patient enough to wait till watercolor will dry by itself, so I'm using a hairdryer usually. Be sure you will fix tape again, because when you use a hot air, tape not that sticky. So you have to push, you have to fix it again on each side of the paper. As soon as first layer done, we can blend and we can layer watercolor. So I put next layer of the water, and please be careful, this water have to be clean. So yeah, I change water after first layer was done. I put water on top with a flat and soft brush and removed extra with a paper towel. This is a background line of the forest. It's have to be very soft and shiny, again, because it's a sunset. Would be nice to start with orange first. Yes, this color is soft enough, but in the center, if you wanna create a perspective, forest in the center need to look very light, so don't bring here lots of carmine. On the left and the right part of the forest, yes, you can put carmine, this beautiful blueberry combination. It's mix of violet and carmine. And of course, after it, possible to dot a little bit of clear violet, very dark color. Same on the left part of the forest. So see on the left and the right side of this line, forest dark, and in the center it's light and mostly orange. You can use napkin again to give a better shape to the coast. Next, it's a small watercolor brush. It's a number 4 from the set of different brushes. And let's create a coastline. Sun still shining here, so these tiny hills in the center will be light enough. It's a yellow and orange color. But bigger hills on the left and the right can be much darker, so it's a carmine and violet colors there. Spread colors softly. Help them to spread with your brush. As soon as forest done and you're happy how it's looking, you have to reflect it. It's a wet layering again, so put clear water on top, spread it with soft big brush. And by the way, if you don't have a similar brush to mine, this flat one, you can use any flat brush even if it's much smaller. Of course, big one making my painting faster. And reflection very easy. It's not that detailed as forest above the coastline. It's much softer, but colors basically the same. Violet to carmine to orange and blend it a little bit. I like to blend with a zigzag brush, by the way. I like to blend it vertically. This brush, it's a brush from the set of different brushes. There are 12 brushes, and today we're also gonna use a fork brush. Unique shape, I have to say. Take a look. This brush have 2 layers of bristle, short one and a long one. When this brush wet, it's really looking as a fork, so that's why I call it with this name. I like to paint a tiny few trees on a background with it, and also some tree crones. Try to paint randomly and shake your brush with a little bit. It's giving more random look to tree crones. Fun brushes usually more popular for fir trees, but here painting not that big, and any fun brush, even a tiny one, gonna be too big for these fir trees. So fork brush giving a better control for tiny areas. I like these tree crones right now, looking natural enough. And I'm detailing with a combination of violet and carmine color. Sometimes it's only violet, tiny touch, and mostly it is beautiful berry mix. And repeat the same for the left part of the forest. Look, more details added, and these details and trees looking darker, so of course you have to add it to reflection. I add dark spot and blend it vertically with flat soft brush. And let's dry it again. Usually I have a hair dryer lots of time, and I have it near to me if I'm painting with watercolor. I already like this landscape, so I don't want to add lots of details on a foreground. It can be a tiny plants, maybe a little bit of twigs or branches. Personally, I like cane, really, especially for fall landscapes. What I can recommend to do for you, start with light orange from the center and go from the center to the left and to the right. As soon as you're going more far on the left and right, use carmine first and then switch to the violet color again. This way, these plants will look contrast enough in the center and on a left and right part of your composition. Tiny leaves, it's very pointy and very thin, so probably line brush it's the best choice for this type of work. Each brush stroke means one leaf, and I'm going one by one. Start with orange again and go from the center to the sides. Color very soft and watery, by the way. I'd say it's better to paint lighter than it's needed than darker, because if you will paint too dark, you will need to do some color lifting. It's not really good for foreground. If you will paint these plants too light, you always can go with an extra layer of color. So go with a soft, watery color, it's just more safe. This is a very gentle and tiny detailing, so I like to paint with a line brush. If you don't have this type of the brush, you can paint with just a brush number 1, for example. Just be sure your brush pointy enough and it's giving a nice control on each brush stroke you do. It's soft orange again on a center, and as soon as I'm moving on a right part of these plants, I'm switching to the little bit darker shade. So I mixed carmine with orange. Really going gentle. Sometimes for me it's even hard to breathe, because it's so small lines. And leaves, it's also need to be darker here. So same mix, orange and carmine, can be a little bit of violet as well. Some lines can be more curved, but in general, the whole group of plants have same direction. It's going from the right to the left with a light angle. It's giving some extra touch, maybe a feeling of the wind, like it's very, very soft in the evening. Here, where background behind these plants kinda dark, of course you need to mix more violet because these plants have to be visible. So correct shade you use, compare on area you're gonna paint on top. When it's a center, colors there, very light, yellow, a little bit of orange. Of course, colors on top, colors for plants, can be soft enough there. But here on a violet around, I need to use very dark and juicy colors, saturated colors. Of course, try to avoid matte combinations like just a clear orange and violet. It's looking not that good. I like to mix a little bit of carmine this way. Probably this part done. I like how plants looking, and you need to do left part the same on a real-time tutorial. You can follow with me each step without any skips, and there we talking much more about color mixing and detailing and type of brushes I use. Sometimes, I have to say it's not enough of a random look because it's still a natural plants. So, how possible to add a little bit of house here? First, it's a fork brush. It's perfect to paint grass, especially a long-looking grass. Always start from the bottom and go to the top. This way, plants will look very pointy. Again, if you're adding more plants in a center, go with orange. On the left and the right, you can go with a carmine and violet. And another one, it's a natural Bristol brush. I'm not really doing brush strokes. Instead of it, I'm trying to tap on top and each brush print, giving a feeling like it's a very fluffy part of the cane. Maybe it's some other tiny flowers inside of these plants, and in the end it's lines on a water. It's not really a waves, I have to say, because in evening time on lake there is no waves usually. It can be again a tiny touch of the wind, and wind distorting a surface of the water a little bit. This way you're able to see these lines on top. It's a color lifting technique. You have to put clear water on top, wait a little bit, spread it on those areas you want to lift up, and press clear napkin on top. It's possible to lift up colors even on a lightest center here. And in the end, please sign up your painting. My friends, I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. This time we created a sunset in a warm tone. Of course, I can recommend to you to check a previous tutorial where we talk about how to create sunsets in a cold tone. And if you're learning how to paint with watercolor, I recommend to follow both of these tutorials. It's really nice for practice. I'm using a hair dryer to let my painting dry completely, and next it's possible remove fixing tape. My friends, thank you very much for joining me today, and thank you from all my heart for your support. It means a lot to me, and it's giving me inspiration for my tutorials. If you have any questions, even if it's a tiny one, please don't be shy to ask me on the comments. Of course, join my Patreon, share your paintings to me through Instagram. Don't forget, hashtag PaintyKat. I'll catch you later on my next tutorials. Wish you all the best. Bye bye.